Hello, you lovely people, and welcome to another video. My name is Coco, and I am in week 3 of my Living on 100 euros a month challenge. And let me just say 2 things. First of all, we don't have much left from last week. Only 1 sad clove of garlic and 1 block of tofu, so we need to go shopping ASAP. Number 2, I don't have time for anything this week because of work and social events and everything. So this week's meals need to be quick and dirty, but also delicious and healthy. You think we can do that? I think we can do that. Let's go! For shopping this week, I went to Netto. I originally wanted to go to Lidl again, but I didn't have the time, so I decided to go to Netto instead. Forgive me. I grabbed some onions and garlic because I was totally out of everything. And as my veggies for the week, I got some zucchini, some tomatoes, which were pretty cheap. I mean, a kilo for €1.39. That's good. And then I also bought some bell peppers. Careful! It looks like the 3-pack is cheaper than the loose paprika, but the 3-pack is 500 grams, and per unit, the loose bell peppers were much cheaper. I also bought some bananas as the main fruit for the week, and I needed some lemons, which I could get nicely enough without any packaging for 69 cents a piece. Then I also grabbed some potatoes. For my carbs this week, I decided to get potatoes and rice, and we have quite the variety when it comes to potatoes. We are in Germany after all, and in the end I decided to get 1.5 kilos of organic potatoes for €3.49. Rice, I got my regular 1 kilo of parboiled rice for €1.59. As my proteins for the week, I decided to get a big can of white beans and 1 big can of chickpeas, until I realized that if I took 2 smaller cans of chickpeas, I got more chickpeas for less money. So I switched them out, obviously. Last but not least, I needed a bottle of passata, which always costs like €1.59, at least at most of the supermarkets. I also got a liter of oat milk for €1.09 and chocolate chips. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is everything we bought for this week. We have a whole bunch of tomatoes, about 700 grams. We have 3 lemons. We have a whole bunch of garlic because we're totally out. We have 2 zucchinis. We have 3 red bell peppers. We have 1.5 kilos of potatoes. We have a whole bunch of bananas, and don't you worry, they are a little black, but we want to make banana bread, so it's fine if they are a little overripe. It doesn't matter at all. Plus, I'm very sure if we take off the peel, they look perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Then we have also a whole bunch of onions, because again, we used up everything from last week. We have 1 liter of oat milk, we have 1 kilo of rice, a whole bottle of passata, 2 cans of chickpeas, 1 big can of white beans, and chocolate chips is what it is called. And that was actually, I wasn't sure if I should buy them really, but it was still slightly within the budget. So I thought, come on, chocolate chips. We need chocolate chips. It's important. Sometimes, you just have to set your priorities straight, and chocolate is definitely always a priority. So, a few comments here. I did consider buying 1 big can of chickpeas, but you could see that the big can was actually more expensive than the 2 small cans. And there is, if you add it up, more in these 2 small cans than in the big can. So always keep an eye at the price per unit. That's important. I could have bought cheaper tomatoes, but I think I mentioned briefly in another video that I do not like to buy tomatoes in cans. It is proven that some of the chemicals of the plastic lining of the cans leak into the tomatoes, so I prefer to buy the tomatoes in a bottle, even if it is a bit more expensive. I also thought about if I should really buy the rice. I could have skipped the rice and put potatoes in one of the dishes that I want to cook, but it was still sort of within the budget, so I didn't think about it. And what else did I want to mention? Oh yes, in one of the recipes, the banana bread recipe talks about vegan butter, but vegan butter is cheaper than regular butter, but the Netto supermarket didn't have my preferred brand, so I couldn't get it there. And that's why I decided just to use oil. Sunflower seed oil is very neutral oil. I bought that anyways for this challenge, so we're going to use that instead. It's going to be fine. Please note that there's a lot of organic stuff here. The bananas are organic, the potatoes are organic, the zucchini are organic, and the garlic is also organic. So I did not necessarily always buy the cheapest stuff, but still, I did not spend too much money. Because if you look over here, everything you just saw came to 24.43 euros, and I will use some flour from my pantry, and I just added a whole bag of flour because that's now the easiest thing to do. And even with that bag of flour, the whole thing comes to 25.02 euros. So 25 euros. Even with the organic options and with the rice that I can use for the future weeks, I think this is really, really good for 1 week. And I will show you that we can make 3 delicious meals with that and a cake for breakfast. Let's go. For breakfast this week, we're going to make banana bread because I really enjoyed the breakfast cake last week. And I know that banana bread is a classic, but it's a classic for a reason. It's delicious. So let's make it. I really only had to buy the bananas, the oat milk, and the chocolate chips for this recipe. Everything else was already in my pantry. So what we're going to do is first we will mash 2 of these bananas in a big bowl. Then we will add 120 milliliters of maple syrup, 4 tablespoons of neutral flavored oil, in my case sunflower seed oil, 4 tablespoons of oat milk, and 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. We'll mix that all until it is combined, and then we will add the dry ingredients, which is 250 grams of flour, 2 tablespoons of crushed cashews, 2 tablespoons of crushed walnuts, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a little bit of salt, and as many chocolate chips as you like. I have about 100 grams of chocolate chips, and the recipe says you only need about 30-40 grams, but I think I will probably add it all. You can never have enough chocolate chips, I think. So, once the dough is mixed, we will add that into a oiled bread pan. And then on the top, we will put the last banana cut in half and some more chocolate chips. Then we will bake this in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius, which is around 350 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 30 minutes. Then we will reduce the heat to 150 degrees Celsius, which is around 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and we will bake it for another 20 minutes. Keep an eye on the top. If it gets too dark, just cover it with a little bit of aluminum foil or something. And then I hope it will be delicious. Now, how good does that look? I baked it exactly as it was said. I didn't have anything to cover the bread, so I just left it in the oven like that, and it did not get too brown. It looks perfect. And now we'll just let it cool for 30 minutes, and then I'll take it out of the pan. Oops! Forgot to film right when I took it out of the pan, but it is delicious, as you can see, because I already ate a few pieces, so nom 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 nom. Our first meal will be ratatouille with white beans, and we will serve that over rice. What I love about this ratatouille recipe is basically you just need to cut up all of the veggies, put them in an oven-safe dish, add some olive oil, some veggie broth, some salt, and a twig of rosemary. Let it bake in the oven, and then you're done. Easy as that. So we will use most of our veggies for this dish. We will cut up the zucchinis in half moons, the tomatoes in big chunks, the bell peppers in stripes, and 2 onions into smaller pieces. Like, not really tiny pieces, but, well, not quarters, but eighth. Do you say that like that? Eighth. We will also add a few garlic cloves. No need to cut them up, actually. We'll just squeeze them a little bit and then add them to all of the other veggies into the oven-safe dish. Then, as I said, we will add a few tablespoons of olive oil, quite a bit of salt, because the veggies have no seasoning at all, so you need some salt in there. Also about 100 milliliters of veggie broth and a twig of rosemary. Do not, I repeat, do not forget the lemon juice. I nearly forgot, but I pulled the ratatouille out of the oven again. And now we're adding lemon juice. Very, very important. Cannot stress this enough. Okay, now we're mixing it all again with the lemon juice.
and the rosemary and all of the salt, and it'll be fine. Okie dokie, okie dokie. Also add the white beans. I've become a fan of white beans since I made these Greek beans in another video. But this time, to save some time, we will not cook them ourselves. We will just add them from the can. So then we will mix that all up, put it in the oven and bake it at 200 degrees Celsius, which is around 390 degrees Fahrenheit, for as long as it takes for the veggies to be done. Should be 30 to 40 minutes. Could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more. Just keep an eye on it, okay? And check regularly. And then we will cook some rice with that and enjoy. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is the ratatouille with beans out of the oven. I did miscalculate a little bit the time it needed. It was nearly an hour in the oven, and I turned down the temperature a little bit to 180 degrees Celsius, which is, I think, around 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I plated up one serving right here, and you can see we have lots more rice. Obviously, we have all the rice in the world, and I think this is probably 4 to 6 servings. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's probably 6 servings. Yeah, it makes a lot. I will leave the original recipe in the description box below because it is a little bit different than what I made. I basically just throw in all the veggies, add as much olive oil and salt as I think, and I added the beans. So it's not really the original recipe, but it tastes great. And that is the most important thing. Nom nom nom. The second meal we're going to cook are lemony potatoes and onions with tofu. For that, take as many onions and potatoes as you can possibly fit into your favorite oven-safe dish. Peel them, cut them up into quarters and put them aside. Take 125 milliliters of olive oil, 125 milliliters of lemon juice, add salt and pepper and as much garlic as you like. Personally, I will add about 3 to 4 finely minced garlic cloves. Mix it all around and then add the onions and potatoes into that mixture. Stir them around and add them into an oven-safe dish. Take the tofu, press it to get most of the water out, and then cut the tofu into cubes, add them into the lemon olive oil mixture, and then also add it to the oven-safe dish. Add a little bit of salt and pepper on top, and then bake it in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius, which is around 390 degrees Fahrenheit, for as long as it takes to make the potatoes and onions feel tender. I wasn't quite sure with the ratatouille, so I'm a bit more careful now. I think between 30 minutes and 60 minutes. We will see. Just keep an eye on it, as always. And this is the dish. After an hour in the oven. And yes, it does look a bit dark at the top, but that means it tastes amazing. It's not burned, it just has a lot of taste. And ladies and gentlemen, this dish is amazing. I love it. The original recipe is with chicken. Now, I usually don't eat meat anymore unless it's saved with food sharing. So I added the tofu and I just plated up a portion for myself. Now, I already knew that it is great because I've made it so many times before. Make sure to taste it for salt and pepper. I think I was a bit shy on the salt beforehand, so I added quite a bit of salt again. Just taste it and add whatever spices you like according to your taste. For me, I just need salt and pepper on this one. It's amazing as it is. And you could make this with different types of protein. Like I tried it with chickpeas, which is really nice. I tried it with the tofu here, but you could also add beans possibly. I'm not sure. Maybe next time I'll try it with white beans because I kind of like white beans now. All right. Now, this is at least 4 servings, I'd say. And as I said before, it's amazing. So please excuse me while I eat this. Bye-bye. And the last meal for this week will be a chickpea and rice tortilla soup sans the tortillas. This is one of my absolute favorite budget-friendly meals from Pickup Lime. So obviously I will leave a link for you in the description box below to the recipe. This recipe only requires a few ingredients. It is really, really good. It makes a ton and it is so budget friendly. So you will love this. Go try it. First of all, we will take an onion and 4 garlic cloves. We will finely mince them and saute them in a bit of oil in a big pot. Let them saute for about 3 minutes. And then we will add the passata, the whole bottle of it, and 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning. We will let that cook for another 2 or 3 minutes. Then we will add a liter of water, 2 bouillon cubes, 2 cans of chickpeas, 150 grams of rice, salt and pepper to taste, and then we will let that cook for as long as it takes until the rice is done, which should only be about 10 to 15 minutes probably. Once it is done, enjoy. It is really, this is one of my absolute favorite recipes. It's so fast, it's so tasty, it's so cheap. Go make it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the finished product. Pro tip, do not leave your soup pot cooking on high while reading The Death of Roger Ackroyd from Agatha Christie, because it means that you might have a few burnt bits in there. But thank goodness I caught it in time, so it's not bad. I can actually not taste it. What I can taste, though, is that this is delicious. But that is no surprise because I've made this many times before, and I know that it is really good. And I also know from experience that a soup pot like that gives you 6 to 8 servings. I think the recipe says 6 servings, but from experience, I'd say it's a bit more. I prefer the consistency to be a bit more like a stew. I don't necessarily like it soupy, which is why I did not add as much water as pickup limes did, and I added a few more chickpeas. But, you know, adjust it according to your taste. Add more liquid or less, add more chickpeas or less, whatever you prefer. I also added a bit more taco seasoning, a bit more salt and pepper, and a little bit of sugar, you know, to balance out the acidity of the tomatoes. If you want to do that, that is up to you. But in any case, the original recipe you can find under the link in the description box.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of this video. There's just one thing I need to say. The lemon potatoes only made 3 servings, because apparently I have absolutely no self-control when it comes to that dish. It's just so good. But it was okay because I had 5 servings from the ratatouille and I had 6 servings from the chickpea and rice soup, so it was okay. It was enough food for the week. But yeah, the lemon potatoes, I don't know what to do. I think next time I just need to make a double batch. Okay, now, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving me one of these, or maybe comment, or maybe subscribe to my channel. I would personally appreciate it very, very much. Thank you again, and I'll see you in my next video when I finally finish this challenge. Huzzah!